like a rat's nest, but I kind of like it. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be me addressing something I've been getting asked a lot lately, and I don't quite know why I'm getting asked it a lot, but I am, and I just think it's a good idea when I get asked a question a lot if I just make one video dedicated to answering it, so I can go into more detail and everything like that, and that way if and when I do get asked again, I can just address people to this video if I can fucking talk. Just having one of those days. But anyway, so what I'm going to be addressing in this video is two questions, and that is, if I get pregnant and I have kids, am I going to keep my piercings? Will I take them out? Would I keep getting pierced? All that kind of stuff. And then the second thing I'm going to address is if I have children and they decide they want to get piercings, what am I going to do? Am I going to let them, or am I going to be like, no bitch, you can't get any piercings? So I'm just going to address it in this video. But let me preface this by saying, right now I am not in the mindset to have children. I am not opposed to having children, but I'm just opposed to having children in my life right now. I am 21, and in my mind that is fairly young to have children. Now if you are my age and you do have children, great, like if that's what you want, great, but everyone's different. So just because I'm not ready to have children doesn't mean like you already have to have children. So I hope no one gets offended by the fact that I'm not ready to have children. And it's just, me and my boyfriend both agreed, like, we want to wait until we're married and, like, all that kind of stuff to even have children. We want to be older. Like, late 20s, early 30s is what we're aiming for children. I mean, if it does happen before that, then it happens before that, but that's kind of our goal right now, is to, like, at least be, like, in our late 20s. So, anyway, if I were to get pregnant, would I take out my piercings? No, I wouldn't. And if I were to have children, I would not take out my piercings. I love my piercings, and I don't get my piercings for anyone besides myself. But let me say, when I was younger, I definitely thought that I would take out piercings if I would have children, because I always knew that I would have piercings, and at least a decent amount of piercings. I've always loved getting pierced, always loved having piercings. So I just kind of knew in the back of my mind I would have piercings. And I always thought I would take them out, and the reason why I thought I would just have to take them out whenever I became a parent was because, you know, in society, it seems like people think that you can't be a good parent. I feel like for mothers, it's much different than it is for fathers. Fathers kind of have more, like, leeway with it, but I feel like mothers, like, in people's minds and, like, society, we are supposed to look a certain way, and that doesn't involve piercings and or tattoos. Or any sort of body modification in that kind of nature. And so I always thought that I would just kind of have to take them out and just kind of get over it and move on from having piercings. Which, it's so funny to me now that I used to actually think like that, because now I'm just like, I know that, like, having, you know, piercings, that's not gonna make me a bad parent, like, at all. I know people who don't have any piercings who are, like, shit parents, so, you know, I think it's ridiculous how, you know, in society, that's kind of the stigma that's placed on us, is, you know, we have to fit into, like, a cookie cutter kind of shape, otherwise we can't be good parents. I hope that makes sense. I'm really tired right now. So right now I would definitely keep my piercings. I wouldn't take them out just because I became a mom. I think that that's just, you know, that's not being true to myself, and I always want to be true to myself. Now, if at some point I just kind of get tired of having piercings, I kind of outgrow them, then that's a different thing. But right now I can say with certainty I would not take out my piercings just because I became a mom. I know some people have taken out their piercings because they got pregnant, and they wanted to look more grown up and more like a parent. But like I said, I personally would just keep my piercings, and I would definitely continue to get pierced, not when I was actively pregnant. I know women who have gotten piercings when they're pregnant, like, they know that they're pregnant but they're not showing it, so they go to the piercer and, oh, this is what I want. They don't mention the fact that they're pregnant, because obviously the piercer would be like, get the fuck out of the shop, like, we're not gonna pierce you. And I've known women who have pierced themselves while they were pregnant, which is even more scary to me, because at least when you're at a shop, everything is, like, clean and sterilized, but if you're doing it yourself, it's not always going to be 100% sterilized. So I wouldn't ever want to, like, get pierced knowing I was pregnant and, like, potentially, like, risk my baby's life or harm them in a new way. I would never want that. Alright, moving on to the second part. If I have kids and they decide they want to get piercings, am I going to let them? First off, that would have to be a decision that me and their father would come to together, but if it was just solely up to me, I would say it just depends on the type of piercing, their age, and how well they researched it. Now, for those of you who don't know, the first like serious piercing I got, and I say serious, like anything besides like, you know, my earlobes, was my nose. And I think I was either 14 or 15 at the time. I was a freshman in high school. So it's definitely been a while since I got that piercing, and you guys can see I still do have it. It is red right now. It's irritated because I put a bigger gauge in it right now. The joint is a bigger gauge than what it was before, so it's definitely irritated right now. So please excuse that. But I've had it for a while, and yeah, I would want them to be at least, I think probably at least 15, just because I feel like that's a decent age. But I think it also kind of depends on their maturity too, like, because I was fairly mature for a 15-year-old. Like, I'd been through a lot of shit in my life, so I was like very mature. I kind of had to grow up fast. And you know, when it came to piercings, I was relatively like knowledgeable, and I knew which shop to go to in my town that was the best. So I feel like I was fairly mature and everything. Not as mature as I would have liked to, like, you know, thought I was at the time, but I was definitely more mature than your average like 15-year-old. And I mean, if my kid isn't like mature enough in my mind to get a piercing, then I just don't think I would let them. But I think, yeah, it would depend on their age, and it would also kind of depend on the type of piercing and like how well like I felt like they researched it. I would honestly like make my kid research, you know, do research on any kind of piercing that they wanted for like months, just to make sure that they were like really like knowledgeable about it, and that, you know, they were really like wanting it. I have said before in videos, I have research piercings that I think I want, and then upon doing the research, I realized like, I don't really want that. Like that, you know, that seems like a lot of effort and everything like that, and you know, it takes a long time to heal. For example, I wanted an industrial piercing, like first, like I just wanted it so bad. I feel like I couldn't live without it. Then I did like research, and I was like, no, like I don't have to deal with that. Like that's like a lot, you know. And if you guys research industrial piercings, you should know they're a pain in the ass. So I decided didn't want to get an industrial piercing. So yeah, I would, like I said, I would want them to be at least like 15, mature enough in my mind. Depends on the piercing and how well they researched it. Now, if I had a child and they came to me and they were like, oh, I want my nose pierced, and they, you know, they were 15 and, you know, I felt like they were mature enough, they researched it, I'd be okay with it. But if they came to me and they were like, I want my lip pierced, I would probably tell them no, to be quite honest with you. And I think it just really goes back to how I was raised. That was, my nose piercing was like my first like serious piercing, and you know, my dad and my stepmom, they were like pretty adamant about like no piercings. I had to beg and beg to get my nose pierced, and I was really only allowed to get like my earlobes pierced, you know, just simple ear piercings, I guess, like, you know, earlobes, ear pierced, and then I did get my tragus pierced, which I paid for it myself, but like my stepmom was the one that took me to the shop to get it pierced, and she paid for it then and there, but then I had to work off and pay her back. I had to do like chores, and I already did chores around the house, so I had to do more chores around the house for like what felt like a year, to be honest with you guys. But I'm so glad my parents, like, you know, that's how they did it, because it kind of made me feel like more like I earned it than just they were like, all right, we want to hear you just shut up about this piercing, so we're going to take you to go do it. I mean, I wouldn't ever be opposed to my children having piercings, but I just think with like facial piercings, I would want them to be at least graduated from high school. I think I'd be okay with like a nose piercing, but I don't think I would be okay with any kind of other piercing, because that's how my parents were. They were like, my dad and my stepmom, you know, they said we could get piercings as long as we graduated from high school, and I can respect that, and I'm really glad that that's like how, you know, they were, because there were so many piercings that I wanted that I think they would have like, I wouldn't have regretted getting them, but I think I would have just ended up taking them out because I would have outgrown them. I wouldn't like how they looked on me. You know, for instance, I wanted my eyebrow pierced so bad, and my dad was like, no, you're not getting it. And now I'm so thankful that he didn't, because I think I would look ridiculous with an eyebrow piercing. I love how it looks on lots of other girls, lots of other guys, but for me personally, like, I think I would look weird with an eyebrow piercing. So I'm really glad that, you know, for the most part, they made me wait to get piercings, and I think it just, that's what I would want for my children as well. So hopefully that answers your guys' questions about that. If you do have any questions, feel free to leave them down below, but please keep in mind, this is just my opinion, and I mean, it could totally change. I could be like, yeah, I get everything pierced, like, probably won't though, but it's just my opinion, and this is so, like, in the future, because I am not even in that mindset to have children. I'm perfectly okay with having my cat, who acts like a 2-year-old the fucking time. So anyway, I love you all. Thank you so much for watching my video. And don't forget to check out the description box where I have all my playlists linked in there. And I have my piercing playlist, which is just a playlist with all of my piercings. And my social media is down there as well if you would like to follow me on anything. Bye, guys.